Engelbright in studio this morning to talk about everything sports. It's the Sideline Report on your hometown radio station, WPKY, The Tiger. And good morning. Hey, we're finally on time at 9:03, Todd.
Hey, excellent.
That's kind of amazing. We finally said 9:03, and it worked out that way. And when I wanted to play the intro before the news. But good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sideline Report. Todd Griffin in studio.
Well, we're just getting everybody excited for the show. You know, that's sort of like a 2-minute warning or a 3-minute warning.
You know my engineering prowess, too. You know my history. That's not my strongest suit in radio. But, hey, we're here. Hopefully, we've got our guest on the line, and I think we do. So far, so good. So I might tell you who it is.
And we also want to remind everybody that we have a top 5 coming up later.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's been the talk of Princeton for a week since we talked about it last week. So, you know, people are waiting for that. But, yeah, we do have a guest with us this morning, and we're glad to welcome Al Williman of the Paducah Sun to the Sideline Report this morning. Good morning, Al. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
I know you're right in the middle of your preseason football tour right now around the high school football practices and whatnot.
I hear them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually here at Graves County this morning.
Wow, that's great. How's the tour been going?
That's going really well. I've been really impressed with what I've seen so far from a lot of these teams here in the coverage area. It's to be a great season.
Who has stood out so far of the teams that you've seen?
Well, I'm at Graves County right now, and they kind of stand out to me. A guy, Cody Goatley, whose name, if you haven't heard by now, you will be hearing plenty of this year. Gotten some attention from SIU already. Paducah Tillman, and it's a strong run game. I know Caldwell County, you guys know them pretty well from last year. That close game came down to the final seconds. McCracken County always stands out to me as a team that has a lot of potential this year. And Caldwell County will be there tomorrow. So I'm excited to see what they're up to.
Well, you mentioned a couple of teams that we're definitely interested in right there because Paducah Tillman is a district game for Caldwell County. And, of course, we've got Graves County who have to make the trip down there this year. That game's coming up early in the season. So going back to that Paducah Tillman game last year, that was such a physical ball game. Caldwell County was able to pull that thing out late. But it looks to me like Paducah Tillman is, you know, back on the road to becoming really relevant again in Western Kentucky with their head coach and just the direction he's got the program in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that with that run game is as dangerous as any run game in Western Kentucky and perhaps even the state, just with the number of players that can have success at any given time. And they've also got a quarterback, Tayshawn Carruthers, who's as a senior poised to have a good year in his first year starting at quarterback this season.
Yeah, Tillman was almost its own worst enemy at times last year with the turnovers. You have to think if they can fix that problem, and you know, I'm not really sure what kind of offense they're going to run, but if they could just get a little passing game going, they would be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Tillman looks a lot more disciplined this year than they were at any point to me last year. And the pass game, that's the X factor. If that can get going, the sky is the limit for that group.
And Al, they seem to me, I went down for the McCracken-Tillman opener last year and just marveled at just how physical they were. They would just pound you, and they just kept coming at you. And I knew right then and there, I said, man, they're going to be scary if they can put it all together. As Todd mentioned, the turnovers kind of hurt them all year long. But other than that, man, they could stand and pound with the best of them, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing with Tillman is it's really good at controlling the pace of the game and dominating the clock.
Yeah.
So you'll see, you know, last year they gave up an average less than 200 yards a game, just because they had the ball for 2/3 of it.
Well, and even last year when they went up to Elizabethtown, they played a very good E-Town team, a pretty good game before the turnovers caught up with them again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you're going to find that the turnovers should, and I put should, you know, in all the emphasis that I can, be limited this year. The discipline that is this group, I can't overstate how disciplined this group looks to me right now.
Yeah, I think that's a result of Steve Duncan, the head coach, and we knew when that guy was hired down there that he would help turn things around and get them in the right direction. And sometimes it takes a year or two to get everything in place, but I think if you look at the Class 3A First District this year, that Caldwell-Tillman game is shaping up to be the game in the district.
No doubt.
Yeah, certainly, and it's going to be circling on a lot of calendars, my own included. I cannot wait for that game.
Yeah, and that's going to be down at Paducah this year, and that's actually, I think, going to bring an end to the series because the two teams are going to go their separate ways. Thanks to the redistricting after this year, Caldwell County's going back down to Class 2A, so that'll be a big game, and, whoever gets bragging rights in that one's going to have them for a while.
Yeah, I think so. I was actually talking to Joe Morris, the Mayfield head coach, about that, and Caldwell coming back down to share a class with them and some of the good games they've had in the past.
Yeah, I think Caldwell County is going to be really good this year. I think Paducah Tillman's going to be really good. And you say you're coming into town tomorrow to get a look at the Tigers, right?
I am. Yep, I'll be in Princeton tomorrow morning for first thing for practice.
All right, that'll be good. We've got Graves County coming up early in the season. What kind of scouting report can you give us on them?
Well, like I mentioned, the guy Cody Gottlieb, he's going to be a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball. Ryan Mathis is coming back healthy at quarterback, so that's a guy that can both run and throw. So he's a dual threat, and I think just depth is something that really stands out to me too about Graves County squad this year.
Well, an interesting dynamic going on there because Caldwell County did not see the Mathis kid last year. He was actually injured during that game. Of course, the kid that replaced him in the game before Caldwell County, which was Murray, I think he set a school record for passing that day, so in a big Graves County win. So it's not like they didn't have some players, but that was one of Caldwell County's better wins last year, and I think that kind of set the tone for the rest of the season for Caldwell to beat a team like that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, who else do you have coming up on your tour besides Caldwell?
That's it. The tour ends tomorrow. It'll be in Sunday's paper, and then we'll get right going with the remainder of the fall sports preview: soccer, volleyball, golf, all those.
Well, I was going to ask what the schedule was and what you have coming up in the Paducah Sun to preview not just football but everything.
Yeah, well, here in the next few weeks, we're going to roll out our golf preview probably first. Then we're going to have a preview of soccer, volleyball, and then sometime mid-August, I'm thinking like the 17th, somewhere in there. Don't quote me on the exact date right now. I don't have it in front of me. Will be the annual Pigskin preview.
Okay.
Good deal. Hey, Al, I wanted to ask you about Graves County since you're there right now. Large county, of course, it's split, with Mayfield in the city and Graves County. How many guys does it look like they have out there practicing today? What's it look like with how many guys?
Let me look here. It's
not to put you on the spot.
It's a large-sized team.
Okay. I just wondered because a lot of times, in Caldwell County it ebbs and flows. We'll have I think we got 50 some. I think coaches said this year we've had as high as 78. I think at one time.
Yeah, it was almost 80 one year. That's almost too many kids to try to practice.
Yeah, and I just wondered how it worked. I know down in Graves County and Mayfield you get a little shuffling. I live in the city. I play for Mayfield, but yet I live in the county. I just didn't know how many guys you kind of looked like that Graves County had out there on the field today.
I'd say there's no fewer than 50.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about the coverage plans for the upcoming season. I know a lot of people are probably curious about how you guys go about determining which games you cover on Friday night, which sports you cover, how things get in the newspaper.
Sure. Yeah, I can tell you that. I'll go first with Fridays for football. We'll take a look at Marlowe, the other Sun Sports reporter, and myself. We'll sit down and kind of look at what we think are the best games. So we'll look at records, look at rivalries, look at streaks, the way the team's playing at the time, and kind of determine what's going to be a good competitive football game to cover. So we're not saying that anybody's bad or better than anybody else, but we want a really competitive game. And the same holds true for volleyball and soccer and golf matches that we'll make our way out to. Competitiveness is really at the top of the list, rivalries, and obviously success does factor in to a certain degree.
Yeah, that's a question I get a lot is how do you determine which game to go to? And a lot of times with me, it's just logistics. If there's a home game or something like that or a couple of home games, it's a lot easier for me to just cover a couple of home games than to go on the road and spend that time to cover one game. But, I think it's interesting a lot of times that, people look in the paper and everybody wants to know why their team's not covered. But, sometimes you're just limited by, the people you have to cover and the amount of time because you guys have a pretty early deadline and you really have to get on that stuff each night.
Yeah, and we're two guys that cover 21 schools, so
Right.
there's only so many places we can be at the same time.
Yeah, and Al, there's many times I shared the booth with you, the press box with you here in Caldwell County. So I anticipate, of course, this coming year you'll be visiting us quite a bit as well. And it's quite a task when you cover 21 schools, and there's just two of you guys trying to do it. So kudos to you all and the coverage that the Paducah Sun provides, because it's good stuff.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, how did your tour come about? Is that something that you started last year and just kind of continued this year?
Yeah, I started last. I don't know if I started it. I know Mike Stunson, who I replaced, had done a similar thing, but I did it last year too, where I went to a few of the schools in the area. There's one logistically I just couldn't work it out with the coach to get there, so I called him on the phone. But yeah, I'd like to get out here and kind of see what's going on and get a flavor of what's going on this season and what the top storylines are going into the season here.
Okay. Well, give us a scoop on what the word is on Caldwell County out there. What are other teams saying about Caldwell County, or are they mentioning the Tigers at all?
Yeah, there's been some mention. The defensive backs is really what's standing out. Riley and things of that sort. But Caldwell County is a talented team that nobody's sleeping on here in the first region.
Well, that's a shame, because we were kind of hoping we could slip up on some teams this year. I think a lot of people saw, the losses at linebacker and on defense and thought maybe the team would be down a little bit. But, from where we sit, it looks like the Tigers are going to be a little better offensively this year. And I think maybe some younger kids can fill in some of those spots on the defensive side. And yeah, the losses were substantial, but I think there are some other kids, so it's going to be interesting to see just how Caldwell County is ranked and how everybody else perceives the Tigers going into the season.
Yeah, player I'm looking for is Oliver Parker, to see what kind of year he can have. I think he's on the verge of something big.
Oh, absolutely. One of the better receivers. Joby Jaggers at quarterback certainly has gotten some attention during the offseason. And you mentioned Trell Riley. He's on a lot of people's list to watch for this upcoming season. And
it'd be interesting that at the end of the last season, you had some maneuvering with the backfield and how we ran the football and incorporated that a little bit more. And you wouldn't think that out of the Tigers, but that might be a formula we might see this year, where we can complement that pass attack with a strong backfield. And I think when they moved Riley back there, it really changed the dynamic of the team. I wonder if we'll see some of that this year as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I would be interested to see that.
Yes.
It's like the opposite of Tillman with the all run, no pass, all pass, no run.
Exactly. It's almost like we're definitely looking to pass and speed that game up, and do majority of passing instead of running, but complement that passing game with a run from time to time, and then Paducah is just going to pound it at you, and then you say control the clock and slow it down with that running attack. So I can't wait for that game. That is going to be I think a huge game in West Kentucky, and then just a fun night to be at the on the gridiron.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be a standing room only.
Well, talk a little bit about Mayfield, because that's another team that always comes up when you start talking Caldwell County football, and it's not a district game yet, but it will be starting next season. And the Cardinals were absolutely loaded last year, and does it kind of look that way again this year to you?
Yeah, in a certain respect, certainly. Obviously, they're replacing Kyle Hurt, who is the All-Purchase Player of the Year, the best linebacker, as voted by coaches in Western Kentucky. So to replace him has been a bit of a chore, but they've also got a guy, Brady Smith, who is a very talented linebacker in his own right, and some other guys who are stepping up to the plate offensively. Mayfield's got Jaden Stinson coming back at quarterback, Kent Trey Matthews, Alonzo Daniel, two talented wide receivers who can play both sides of the football, and then Connor Guthrie, who it seems can play any sport, anytime, basketball, baseball, football, and can play any position in those sports with very little adjustment. He is a very talented jack of all trades there.
Well, Mayfield's had a pretty good run. Well, in football forever, but even in basketball and maybe baseball the last few years, they've been pretty strong.
Yeah, basketball, certainly. Baseball team struggled a little bit this year, but Mayfield has a very talented group of athletes that play multiple sports and can translate that success into each of those sports seamlessly.
Well, that's something that we talk about a lot, maybe not as much on the show as we should, but about the playing multiple sports.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like anymore a lot of kids want to just kind of focus on that one sport, but Mayfield is certainly a school that is taking advantage of its athletes and kind of spreading that out a little bit.
Yeah, it's a case study, really, if you think about it in the case not to specialize. You know, if you look at the success that Mayfield has on its fields at any given time, not just the big sports. You know, you've got golfers who do well, who play basketball and do other things. So it's, you know, you train in different sports, you learn different skills, work different muscle groups, and then it makes you a better all-around athlete, I believe.
Well, that's one of the things we hear from college coaches all the time, that they want to recruit kids who play multiple sports, but yet then you have some people that try to kind of squeeze kids into one sport all the time, and we're just kind of left to wonder, you know, I guess maybe one way works for some and one way works for another, but at the smaller schools you almost need to use those athletes in every sport to be able to have some success.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those things that you can earn yourself scholarships by being able to do more things.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and I'm no expert either, but I think, you know, I've read several studies out there, and I think most of the medical community is clear that in concluding that if you play multiple sports, there's less chance of injury. You know, your muscles stay pliable, and it's just better for an athlete to play several sports as opposed to one. You know, I think medically it's better.
I know those studies exist, and it limits the risk of overuse injuries for doing one certain thing.
Exactly.
Because you're working so many different muscle groups.
That's right.
Well, we've mentioned football a lot. What are you hearing about soccer teams in this end of the state and maybe volleyball teams in this end of the state? Who's going to be good in Western Kentucky this year?
Yeah, sure. You know, some of the information I've gotten isn't as much information as I'd like to have gotten at this point in the summer and early fall, but McCracken volleyball seems to me is going to be the number one volleyball program here in this area. Its success, you know, is well documented. On the soccer side, I think Marshall County's girls have a really good chance at making a run here in the first region, as do the boys over at McCracken County, Callaway County. Callaway County won the first region last year in a stunner over McCracken. Marshall won the first region last year. I think he has a good chance of doing it again. So if you look at it, there's some really talented programs here in this area.
Well, Al, we appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. I know you're busy. This is a busy time of year for sports guys, and maybe everybody doesn't realize that because, you know, the season still doesn't start for a couple of weeks in most sports, but for the sports reporters, it's already the busy season because there's a lot of previews, and everybody wants covered, and everybody wants their name in the paper. So, you know, we appreciate you stopping and spending some time with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always great to talk to you guys.
Appreciate it, Al. We'll see you in the press box, okay?
All right.
All right.
See you soon. Bye.
Have a great day. See you.
Hey, you too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Some good information there from Al Willman of the Paducah Sun, and like I said, the sports guys around the area are all.
He's hard at it this morning.
Yeah, I mean it's going full throttle at this point because everybody's trying to get their previews done. You know, you can't push those things back. The season's going to start when it's going to start. You have to get your previews finished, and and here's the thing. You know, your workload doesn't get any easier in other things when you have to do all those preview sections. That's just kind of work on top of what you usually do.
Exactly.
So all the sports people stay busy this time of year.
No doubt about it. And, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of stuff to prep for, a lot of research to be done. And, of course, Al on the road ending his football tour tomorrow here in Caldwell County. And so it'd be interesting to, and I think he said he probably will have a write-up on that in Sunday's paper. Is that what he said, or is that preview going to come out later, the pigskin preview?
I think he does a few different things with that. I think he does a little something on his tour, and then they have their big preview later on.
So I think he said he might have something in the paper about some of these teams that he's been seeing lately.
And Caldwell football pictures are this evening, so you know, it's a busy time for Caldwell County football, and we're still working on getting volleyball and soccer teams scheduled for pictures. And you know, all those previews are coming up in August in the Times Leader as well. So
yeah, and those are fantastic to have. I still have keepsakes from when my son played each and every year. You know, you just keep those. They're so nicely done that you've got them, you know, for a scrapbook. You know, and they're neat.
It's going to be difficult to top the cover of last year's Caldwell County soccer preview. we need to have another eclipse or something so that I can.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, we got to wait to I think it's 2024. You'll be able to maybe replicate that.
I hope I'm still here in 2024.
Hey, we do want to give a shout out to the Lady Tiger volleyball team. They're having their cookout today, so if you're looking for something good to eat, hey. It's only 9:30, but I can eat a tenderloin sandwich about any time or a half a chicken. They've got them down there on the grill. They've had a lot of pre-sales, but we want to encourage you to head on down there and help the Lady Tiger volleyball team out. Get you something good to eat. You can get it as a meal, or you can take maybe a chicken home. But they're going to run out, and it's over when all the stuff is gone. So,
well, our schedule for the Times Leader has the volleyball preview in the Wednesday, August 8th edition. I think that's the 8th. And then soccer the following Saturday, and then the big football preview section is August 15th, and the first football game is August 17th at Christian County.
Yeah, get you set right up on the 15th for kickoff on the 17th. So, yeah, man, I know you are that camera shutter is going to be flying.
Well, it's fun, but it's always difficult each year to try to come up with some kind of theme for the preview section.
Right.
Like I said, I need another eclipse. If we had an eclipse every year, would help.
I got a feeling you'll come up with something pretty good and pretty clever.
But I did really like the soccer preview section last year, and the cover of it I thought was one of the better ones.
Oh yeah, and it's amazing that's been a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, we're coming up on a year for that. I think the eclipse was August 25th. Was that right? Something like that?
I can't remember the date, but I just remember the build up to it. And,
man.
Yeah, that was the big thing.
What an event. And that's been almost a year ago.
Wow.
So, yeah, incredible. Do you want to take a break? Do you want to stick right here? Or what do you want to do?
Yeah, we can take a break.
Okay, let's take a break here at 9:25. Of course, we've got our top 5 coming up today. We've got more sports to talk about as well, but our top 5 today is our classic MTV videos.
Music videos.
Music videos.
What they used to play on MTV.
Yeah, back, when it first started, and it was launched in 1981, so our videos are probably going to be somewhere around the early 80s era, I would think. So we'll be back in just a moment. You listen to the Sideline Report here on your hometown radio station, WPKY, The Tiger. U-Ride in Princeton is proud to sponsor the Sideline Report each Thursday here on your hometown radio station, WPKY, The Tiger. Go on out to U-Ride on Marion Road. Ask for Dave's Deal of the Week. It's usually the spotlight vehicle of the week, and it's waiting for you at U-Ride. Dave Harden is the sales manager at U-Ride. Go on out and ask to test drive Dave's Deal of the Week. It's out at U-Ride on Marion Road in Princeton. Give him a call, 270-365-3018, U-Ride of Princeton. And we're back on the Sideline Report. And Todd, we've got a local golfer. I call her local golfer because she's local, but she's across the pond in a big event, the Aberdeen Standard Investments Ladies Scottish Open in Scotland, Lod.
Yeah, the first round is already well underway, and Emma's already in the clubhouse, finished, and getting ready for her second round.
Yeah, and not a horrible round. She shot a 72. She's at a +1. The leaders, 3 South Koreans at the top of the leaderboard at -5, scorching the course at a 66. So she's got some work to do, but the good thing is she's got time to do it, and that's very, you're 6 back, but that's within range to, you get a couple birdies to fall, you're right there, and they can kind of keep them from maybe scoring another 66, but
well, a consistent round for Emma this morning, as
I
think she had 17 pars and a bogey on number 10.
I think that's right.
The last time I checked, that was tied for 58th.
It's 53rd now.
Okay, I think the top 70 in ties play the weekend, so she's close to that, but just a good solid round tomorrow, and she's right in the middle of everything.
Do we know what course conditions were like over there? I know the last round of the British Open, it was a nice sunny day, but that wind kicked up and scores kind of went south, and that's just the nature of golf across the pond.
Well, actually, I think Golf Channel coverage is live right now.
Yeah, till 10:30
our time. Yeah. Emma teed off at 1:30 this morning, our time, so I didn't get to see much of that. Or any of it, but
they're 6 hours ahead over there.
Yeah, and her second round tee time is at 6:20 a.m. our time tomorrow.
Okay,
so I'm thinking that if she plays well, her round will go into that live Golf Channel TV window. So maybe she'll get some TV time tomorrow. Of course, 6:20 a.m. here is 12:20 in the afternoon over in Scotland. So,
right.
And one of the interesting things about the Scottish Open and the tournaments over there, of course, when you have a tournament here, those first 2 rounds, they do split tees. They, have a group off of 1 and group off of 10. Over there, the days are long enough this time of year. I think they have about 17 hours of sunlight.
Yeah, because of that
everybody goes off of number 1 both days in the first 2 rounds. So that's a little interesting.
Yeah, that is. But like I said, there is a lot of daylight over there, so they can do that.
Oh yeah, they can play from 5 in the morning until 10 in the evening and be okay. And that gives you a lot of options when you're trying to schedule those things. And
yeah. And golf coverage tomorrow as well is from 8:30 to 10:30 Central Time. So, you, like you said, she tees off at 6:20 our time.
Yeah, 6:20 our time.
So she can get in that range. And she needs some TV time. I think she's earned it and deserves it. And, boy, I think if she gets a little bit more TV time and people really get to understand who Emma Talley is, the sky's the limit. I really do.
Well, she's been playing really well. The courses over there are a little different, but she's going to spend some time over there. Hopefully she gets to play this weekend. And then the British Open is August 2nd through the 5th over there. Yeah. So, a couple of big tournaments and a chance to keep on moving on up that money list. And I think she's, 35th now on the tour money list? So
I think so.
That's in pretty good shape.
And wasn't a couple of years ago, Emma was a low amateur at the ladies' British Open, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So she's played well over there, and it'd be fun to watch.
And the next tournament here in the States is August 16th through the 19th, and that's in Indianapolis. So that might be a chance for some people to go up there and be able to watch that.
Exactly. So lots of good things going on with Emma Talley, and we will try to keep you up to date, of course. You can check the coverage of Todd on his Twitter feed. We throw out Facebook things as well from time to time, and we'll try to keep you up to date on Emma's progress as she heads through the weekend. So
it is a little difficult to keep up with, though, when she's playing at 1:30 in the morning.
It is. It is. It's but hopefully this golf channel coverage, I think looks like to me they're covering all the rounds. They'll have 3 hours of coverage on Friday and 3 hours of coverage on Saturday as well.
Saturday and Sunday's tape delayed.
Yes.
From 2 to 5 each afternoon.
Exactly. So. It's tape delayed. Yeah. So, anyway, if you'd like to chime in to us, don't forget 270-963-9038. You can text us at that line as well, and we'd respond to you. But we certainly wish Emma luck in the Ladies Scottish Open.
And I think we've made everyone wait long enough. It's top 5 time, our top 5 favorite videos from the MTV heyday era. So it's probably going to be a lot of 80s and 90s stuff, because it wasn't long after that I think MTV moved away from the video thing. But
yeah, I don't know what they play now.
But it was fun there for a while to watch music videos all day long. And at one time there were only really 2 channels that I worried about. That was ESPN and MTV. And if I wasn't watching one, I was watching the other. But a much anticipated top 5, and I'm not sure which one of us goes first.
I think it's you this time,
okay.
Isn't it?
All right, I can go first. I think I have a good one at number 5, a personal favorite. It's Sabotage from the Beastie Boys.
man, that one's cool.
It's sort of like
I love that. I still pull that up and watch it every
it's
time.
It's like a 70s TV cop theme going on in that video, and it's really fun. And
they're eating donuts. It's kind of the classic.
It's one of my favorite Beastie Boys songs, and it's also been featured in some of the newer Star Trek movies. So it was one of the classic songs they played in the last Star Trek movie.
Yeah, I like that choice, but I'm going very further back. I think that's a good one. I mean that's a cool video. It was cutting it. Wasn't anything special about it, but yet it was just so cool. But my number 5, I've got a tie here. Okay. 1999 by Prince and Flock of Seagulls, Iran.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I just remember kind of drifting off at night. It'd be like 1:30, 2 o'clock. I'd still have it on, and then I'd see that guy with the weird hairdo at the keyboard and going in circles, and I'd get dizzy, for A Flock of Seagulls.
See, I thought that was a geography lesson. Iran so far
away.
It is.
Iran
it is
so far.
Iran.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and you could point. Oh yeah,
the
Iran.
Bad joke
I know what that
day.
is. I love it. But I had to have I've got a few ties on this list because it was hard just to narrow it to 5. But that is my number 5.
Okay. I didn't have any ties this week. I could have.
No, you easily could, I think.
My number 4, I could have had a lot of videos from this guy. I decided on I Lost on Jeopardy by Weird Al Yankovic. It's my favorite Weird Al video, but I could have gone with Amish Paradise or White and Nerdy or, anything.
What about Eat It?
Yeah, I mean, that one's great too, or Fat.
Oh, yeah,
any of
fat,
those.
I'm fat, yeah.
But I love the Jeopardy video because, they got all the old guys from the original Jeopardy thing on. It's also got Dr. Demento has a cameo in it. And at the very end, of course, it's from the Greg Kihn Band
Exactly,
song.
I was going to say.
At the very end of the movie, the video, when they throw Weird Al out of the studio, he lands in the back of a convertible. It's the convertible from the Greg Kihn Band video, and the guy driving the car is Greg Kihn.
It's actually Greg Kihn.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always thought that was the most awesome thing, that he's in the video.
It's pretty awesome, and man, Weird Al is just a true talent. There's just no doubt about it. I think you've seen him. I've never seen him.
Oh yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, and
he was actually down at Paducah at the Carson Center.
Yeah, he is a true talent, and just what it. I mean, I think that's
so. Like
I
said, I could have had any of his videos, but instead of just having a top 5 Weird Al videos, I put that at number 4.
You went away. Well, I can tell right now our lists are going to be different because I went back and tried to really think of the early 80s when MTV, I think, was launched in 1981. And so this one is about that era, and it's a pretty obscure video. It's hard to find. Trouble by Lindsey Buckingham.
Oh, I don't remember that one, but I remember the song. I don't remember the video.
Yeah, there was a video actually, and it was poorly for the time it was kind of cool. There's all these guys in a line, they're playing drums. Mick Fleetwood actually makes a little appearance in there.
Yeah.
They're like hitting snare drums, and Lindsey Buckingham kind of looks like a girl, but I mean But I love the guitar lick in there, and it's just nothing special about the video. It's just played a lot back in the early days. So Trouble by Lindsey Buckingham.
All right, so we're up to number 3.
Yep.
Okay, my number 3, and everybody has seen this video a million times. It's Take On Me by A-ha.
Yeah, it was a breakout video at the time because the technology, the computer technology that it helped launch, was groundbreaking for other videos that would come after it.
Well, that was the thing. In the 80s, you didn't have, the computer technology to make a lot of these things, so it was just starting to come about, and such a neat video. I think it still holds up, even though it was sort of at the front of all that stuff.
Oh yeah, and mine are just my videos are poorly produced and very basic because there was no computer technology really at the time. There was, I mean, Star Wars kind of launched a lot of this stuff, but this one goes back even into the late 70s.
Oh wow!
And this was played, used to before MTV. You had shows. I remember on HBO between movies, they would show music videos before MTV was launched.
Yeah.
So before you saw a movie on HBO, a lot of times they'd have a little section of just music videos.
Yeah.
And in fact, my number 1 videos were actually shown. I saw those first, actually, if I'm cheating a little bit, on HBO between movies, but later they were heavily rotated on MTV. But anyway, my number 3 is from a 79 hit that was later a video, Gary Newman and Cars.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah. 79, 1980, somewhere around there. It may have been 1980, but Gary Newman and Cars. I mean, there's nothing special about the video, but, man, I just remember seeing it, and the song's cool, and so that's my number 3.
Gary Newman, a true one-hit wonder.
There's no doubt about it.
You hear a lot of one-hit wonders, and they're really not. They had some other hits.
No.
But I think Gary Newman is actually...
No, I think you're right. But that was a huge hit. When I lived in Florida, they had a top 10 countdown on 95 YNF every Friday night. And this one was number 1 for a long time.
One of the worst things I ever heard on the radio, and I'm not going to say which station, but I was listening to a station, and they were playing Wild World by Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
And when the song ended, the announcer said, "That's from that one-hit wonder, Cat Stevens."
Dang, no.
I almost ran off the road.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, one of his 30 hits.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's next? More one-hit wonders? The Beatles? Elvis?
He got it wrong on Cat.
Yeah. Michael Jackson?
Yeah. I don't. That's blasphemy. All right. Where are we already up to number 2?
We are up to number 2, and I think this is a good one, and it's one of my favorite performers ever, and it was a great video, another groundbreaking video, Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
And I could have gone a lot of ways with Peter Gabriel because the video from that album, the same album, Big Time, was pretty good too.
Yeah, it was better than Shock the Monkey.
I was going to bring up Shock the Monkey. Yes.
I remember the first time I saw Shock the Monkey, I said, "Man, that scares the hell out of me." I mean, that's scary. I didn't like Shock the Monkey, but yeah, that's groundbreaking stuff. And especially the computer aspect of it and the way it was done.
And a lot of it was done with him behind, glass, and they would lay stuff on the glass on top of him.
Yeah.
To where it looked like it was more computer generated, but it really wasn't.
It was just the filming technique,
yeah,
wasn't it?
The way they filmed it was great. And of course, MTV showed that video at least once an hour.
I can still see it in my head.
Yeah.
I can still picture it. But
and a great song too. I mean, if the song hadn't been really good,
there's another one-hit wonder.
Peter Gabriel.
No, but yeah, that's a great choice. That is a great choice. And that
was number 2.
Okay, that was number 2. Okay, I'm up to, and this is just more sentimental than anything, but I love Rush, and you didn't get to see this all the time, but they would take segments of the old concert that they filmed in Toronto from Exit Stage Left. And they did a little documentary on it, but they would snippet videos from it. So I would love when Tom Sawyer would come on from Exit Stage Left, and that's my number 2.
Okay,
so
pretty good one.
Yeah, I mean, but it was one that, man, you just didn't when it came on, it was such a treat because it wasn't necessarily in heavily rotation on MTV because the album had come out. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those that it didn't hit at the time MTV launched, but it was cool when you saw it. So.
Well, we're up to number 1.
Will Brown says Subdivisions. Yes, that's an awesome one too, Will.
And I hate to be Captain Obvious on my number 1, but it's got to be Thriller by Michael Jackson.
I hear you.
I could have gone a lot of different ways, could have tried to throw a swerve in there, but, I mean, that's the video we all waited forever to see. It was controversial at the time, and when you look back on it, you're like...
And it was like 16 minutes long, the original.
It was a long video.
Vincent Price and all the hoopla. I mean, MTV built this thing up in '83 when that album came out and the video, and it was all... I mean, it just, I think once that came out, even more than Billie Jean and Beat It, those hits were off that same album, that was kind of like, oh, yeah, he is the king of pop.
But people still parody and use part of that video in their own shows and videos and whatnot. I mean, it was hot for like 2 years, it seemed like. I mean, you couldn't turn on MTV without them either playing the video or talking about it. And
then they shortened it down a little bit so they could put it in the, because the big long production. But they made a huge deal out of it, and it was a big deal.
But like I said, when you look back now, it seems awfully tame for the controversy that it generated at the time.
Yeah. Zombies walking down the street. And it was something. Mine are going to be pretty uneventful compared to what you have. Will Brown says no Maiden videos. I vote for Flight of Icarus.
I actually
maybe.
thought about that. Yeah, but
oh yeah, and
Wasted Years is awesome.
Oh, Wasted Years is really awesome. Glad you mentioned that, Will.
If there were a video for Alexander the Great, it might have been up there.
Oh, man.
That's a pretty deep cut, though. You have to be a Maiden fan.
You got to be to know. Yeah, you do. But also, there are a lot of videos. With 5, cutting-edge videos we couldn't miss. These are my number ones were sentimental to my heart because I love the band, but I just I can tell all kinds of stories about this. But these are the videos that I saw on HBO before MTV was launched, and it's a tie, but it's by the same group. I've got Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic and Spirits in the Material World.
Yeah.
In the Material World by the Police.
Those are good ones.
Yeah, and of course the Police went down to Montserrat to record this Ghost in the Machine, And so a lot of those videos were just them goofing off and having a good time in the recording studio in Montserrat. And they kind of had, of course, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic got kind of a reggae feel, and there's kind of a reggae video out there, them in the back of a truck with steel drums, and it's got that sound to it. But
I actually thought about Every Breath You Take because of the way it was shot, and it's such a great song.
And we talked about that one last week. That was a cutting edge video. You came right out of the ashtray, and some lighting and the way it was done. But I've got a tie because those videos. I saw those, and it made me run out to Tressler's and get Ghost of the Machine on 8-track. And I did. I got Ghost of the Machine on 8-track. And, no Petty or REM. I could. I
thought about Tom Petty. I can't
Running Down a Dream?
No, it's
the one with
Mary
Jane's Last Dance?
No, the one with Alice and one the.
Oh yeah, Don't Come Around Here No More.
Yes,
that was
one.
all. Yeah, that's one.
That's the one I thought about.
Yeah, and of course that was about 85.
Yeah.
I tried to go back a little earlier than that, more toward launch time. And then of course REM. You could look at the whole Murmur album when that came out, and South Central Rain off of Reckoning.
You want to talk about a video that got played a lot, Losing My Religion.
Oh, big time!
It was all the time,
and that was that got overplayed to the point where you're like, I don't want to hear that. But and some of the early U2 stuff was awesome too. I'm back to '83, like under stuff off when they did a live at Red Rocks concert. U2 Under a Blood Red Sky. They played a lot of that stuff. Gloria, you can mention, that harken back to that, and New Year's Day as well. So. A lot of cool
believe
stuff.
Neither one of us had a Van Halen video.
Well, and that Will was wondering that too. I about put, and you didn't get to see it very often. If This Is Love, you had Unchained, quite a bit. Of course, 1984 is really when Van Halen videos really were popular. You had some stuff off Fair Warning you could get very rare clips of. Unchained, being one of them, but. In 1984, when Jump came out, everybody went Van Halen crazy because they kind of popped out on us. That was Van Halen's pop.
Well, I thought you would have a Van Halen video just so you could say, "Sit down, Waldo."
Yeah. Sit down, Waldo. I did play Hot for Teacher the other day on the Tiger, though. No video, but I did play Hot for Teacher on the Tiger. I just had to rock out. But
and the Right Now video, which I know that's Van Hagar, but
that was kind of that was neat. Yeah, that was a neat video for the time.
But so many Money for Nothing.
Yeah,
we didn't have that.
No, and that came off Dire Straits' Album of the Year. In 1984 is when that came out, and that was
that was some cutting edge computer generation, video, and of course when you look back now, it's not exactly cutting edge, but at the time it was, when you hadn't seen that before, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was, and there's so many videos now that have come out that the technology is there, and back. 15, 20 years ago, it would have been a big deal. It's not a big deal now. I mean, everybody's like, oh, everybody's doing that. It's kind of like when the Beatles on Revolver, when they recorded that album, they did a lot of back mastering and all this weird stuff that make those with the tapes. That was cutting edge in 1966.
Yeah.
But anymore, I mean, by the time 1970, 71, of course, they did it first. And George Martin, but after that, everybody was doing it, to get a certain sound out of it. So that's kind of the way music videos were. And Will Brown is blowing up my phone. Let me see here.
Well, these days, they can almost make movies without people because the computer effects are so good, and you can almost make music without being able to play an instrument or be able to sing.
And everything's auto-tuned these days, so everybody can sing. So, all right, well, that was fun, Todd.
We could almost do another list on top 5 videos we left out.
Yeah, we did, and I think Will made a suggestion here. Need top 10 song remakes. Could do one rock, one country, even. He said, not that y'all know much about country. Which is good. That's what he said. But
I would have a lot of John Anderson stuff on there.
Yeah. But that'd be kind of fun to do remakes like that. But we'll keep our thinking caps on. We got to credit Jeff Sims. He gave us the one about the toys, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And so you never know what.
And for some reason, after that show, all the ads I've gotten on social media for the last week have been for those Mattel games.
I wonder why.
I
Because Big Brother's watching. You
Yeah.
did some searches, and all of a sudden, bing, 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 it popped up everywhere. Didn't
I don't
it?
even know if I did a search. I think I just thought about it. So sometimes you can think about something and go to Facebook, and your thoughts are, it's scary.
No, I think
Yeah.
you're right. I think you're right about that.
These phones are dangerous. You know,
Yeah,
don't say anything around your phone.
No, it's been proven. You know, somebody can hear it. I'm always paranoid about that anyway. But awesome list, and let's just we got some more time, more sports to talk about.
Oh, there's all kinds of sports. It's that time of year. I mean, we could probably go an extra hour. I do want to mention something that happened last night, though. Maybe some people missed it. It was probably late. Albert Pujols hit home run number 631 last night.
Past the kid.
And past Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some
That's
big names.
monster numbers, too.
Albert is now in 6th place all alone on the all-time home run chart.
Wow. That's big-time stuff. And punching his ticket to Cooperstown. Had a while back, but
yeah, I think so.
But still, that's a lock there.
But those are two of my favorite players ever. When Ken Griffey Jr. came up, I thought he would break every record there was.
Yeah.
And
Battled some injury.
If he hadn't been hurt, he might have, because he missed a lot of productive playing years. He still tried to play, but he was definitely not the same player that he originally was. Had probably the sweetest swing ever.
Yeah, beautiful swing.
I thought those Seattle Mariner teams would win all kind of World Series, and it just goes
just
to
didn't
show
pan out. Yeah,
you never know, but man, they had some good teams, and he spent some years with the Reds, and.
Wasn't there a game where he and Senior played and they hit back-to-back homers? Yeah. That was cool. Father and
the
son.
Seattle Mariners. I think it was in the Kingdome.
I think it was. And is that the only and first time that's ever happened, isn't it? I mean, that's a pretty cool thing.
But you look at the list of all-time home run leaders: Barry Bonds at 762.
Asterisk.
Asterisk on that one. But Hank Aaron 755. The Babe 714. A-Rod hit 696 home runs. See, if I'd have been that close to 700, I'm coming back for a year.
Oh, yeah. You surely can
if I can walk, I'm coming back for a year.
Hit 4 dingers. And,
It's like that the movie, Mr. 3000, where he has a
that's right.
away.
Yeah. But I think A-Rod was under a little bit of pressure when he hung it up. So, I mean,
Mays at 660 is next for Albert Pujols. And, you know, as a Cardinals fan, Pujols was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Now, the way it all went down with him leaving St. Louis, and, you know, St. Louis could not have paid him the money that the Angels paid him. There was just no way. But I don't think St. Louis has been the same since he left. I don't think Albert has been the same since he left.
No doubt about it.
You know, in hindsight, I wish he would just have remained a Cardinal.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen that way, so.
He could have been at the 660 by now because he had he struggled when he first went to California.
Well, and, you know, he's not the same hitter he was. Like Ken Griffey Jr., he's battled some injuries.
Yeah.
You know, and that's been a big part of why he hasn't put the numbers up. But when you go back and look, and I think he hit the scene about 2001, for about 10 years there in St. Louis, he was maybe as good as any hitter has ever been.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't think that's hyperbole.
No.
I think he was right there with anybody.
I know you're a Cardinals fan, but even for those of us that aren't number one Cardinals fan, I think that's an accurate statement.
Even his outs were hard hit. You know, he was just in one of those grooves for so long, and again, you know, age catches up with everybody, and injuries catch up with these guys. But when you start talking about
at least
Hank
he's not
Aaron,
a Cub, is what Will says.
Oh, yeah. Thank goodness for that. But you go back and you look at Hank Aaron, the Babe. I mean, Willie Mays.
That's impressive company.
That's as good as it gets.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's right there with them.
Yeah, that's impressive company. So
I wanted to mention that.
Yeah,
because
congratulations.
That's big news, and I think it kind of happened late last night, so maybe not everybody saw it. And sometimes stuff happens on the West Coast or with the West Coast teams, and
it doesn't get in all the papers.
It doesn't get the play that it would if it was on the East Coast. If he was a Yankee,
if it happened
or
at
a Red
7:30,
Sox, I mean, it would be all over everything.
Yeah.
But the Angels, and when Pujols and some other guys went to the Angels, you know, the ESPN guys were saying, well, they won't just win one World Series; they'll win multiple. It's the start of a dynasty. Well, I'm not even sure they've won a playoff series since that group has been out there. So, again.
And they've got one of the best players in Major League Baseball on their team.
Yeah.
And Mike Trout.
Mike Trout, yeah. So you just never know. It's
you would think.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But they were predicting them to be just, in the World Series year after year, and they haven't gotten there yet. So,
No.
I mean, and spent all that money on these guys, and that's not always the way
It's not always
to go.
the formula, is it?
Yeah.
Well, and but I think our news cycles and how we get news and what is news anymore has changed so much. So, even if you've got a West Coast happening such as this,
Yeah.
It's not, for some reason it's been dumbed down that it's not big. That's huge baseball news.
Well, it's like when Ken Griffey Jr. played for Seattle. He didn't get the publicity. I mean, he got a lot of publicity, but imagine if he had come up with the Yankees or even the Mets or somebody like that, one of those East Coast teams that get all the publicity and they're always in the news.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of players like that, guys. A George Brett that played for Kansas City. What would he have done in New York City? I mean,
no doubt about it. And I just played the other day the pine tar. I think I've shared that on Facebook. The pine tar incident.
Yeah.
George Brett was one of my favorite players.
I think George Brett still holds the Guinness Book of World Records for fastest time from the dugout to home plate.
I know. There's no doubt about it, man. And with a big old wad of tobacco in his mouth. But anyway, guys don't do that anymore either. And other baseball news, local baseball news. Caldwell County Shane Burns pitched the other night, had a great pitching performance as the Hoptown Hoppers now in the OVL championship. And that starts Friday night, doesn't it?
Yes, he did not figure in the decision.
Right.
I think he had the lead when he left after 5 innings, but Paducah tied the game. Mm-hmm. That was game 1, I think, of their series. The Hoppers swept the Madisonville Miners in their first series, swept the Paducah Chiefs, and now they get the Owensboro River Dogs.
Yeah, I didn't know who won the game last night this morning. So the championship series of the Ohio Valley League starts in Owensboro Friday night at 7 o'clock. Shane's had a great year. He has.
For the high school team, for the summer college team. I think he's done, though, pitching. I think he's probably topped about 100 innings for the season. So I think he's probably finished for the summer. And
okay.
Yeah, so I don't think we'll see him pitch.
So we won't see him in this championship series?
I don't think we'll see him throw in the championship series.
So are they limited by innings?
No, they're not, but I think Murray State
wants
has
him
told
limited
them to shut him down.
Okay.
Because
need to give that arm a rest.
100 innings is a whole lot, for basically one season. When you go from high school and then went straight from high school into college ball, and that's a lot of baseball. That's like we were talking earlier. It's difficult to specialize because you end up playing that sport year round. The season might not go, but he did conditioning all through the fall and winter, and of course high school practice started as soon as I could get in the gym.
Yeah.
And as soon as they get out on the field, so that's a lot of baseball.
It is, and fantastic season both for the Tigers and the Hoptown Hoppers, and then good things to come for Shane over at Murray State, I'm sure.
I think the River Dogs had the best record in the league during the regular season, so that's why they get to host. And actually, you have the Hoppers, who were the champions in the OVL West. And the Owensboro River Dogs were the champion in the OVL East.
It's a 3-game series. Yeah, it's a 3-game series.
Best of 3. Yeah.
Okay, and then the season's over.
Yes, although the Hoppers are going to either, I think, Lexington or Louisville.
I think I saw that
to play in something. But,
I think I saw that.
Yeah, this basically ends the Ohio Valley season with the championship series.
Okay. Well, good deal. Congratulations.
And there's more baseball going on. The American Legion team down at Lyon County is in the state tournament. It's in Ashland, which I think is as far away from Lyon County as you can get and still be in Kentucky.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But the Aces from Post 68, I believe,
I believe that's right,
have won their first 2 games in Ashland. They play their 3rd game today, so good luck to them. There are several local kids
players
on that team.
Yeah.
And let's see, I know there are 3 Caldwell County players, I think, with them. I believe Noah Brown and Ty Ramey and Jace Felker are all playing with the Lyon County Legion team in the state tournament. And then you've got Lyon County's Travis Yancey is on the team. Gabe Board from Lyon County, Brody Bridges from Lyon County are all on there. Chris Yancey from Lyon County's team is one of the coaches on that team. So, a big Caldwell County, Lyon County connection on the Lyon County American Legion team that's playing in the state tournament this week.
That's great. Well, good luck to those guys. Sounds like they're off to a good start.
Yeah. Like I said, that's a pretty good haul when you have to go to Ashland.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been up through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of like, oh my gosh, and then you start seeing flames coming out of the refinery. And you're like, ooh, it's kind of like you're in Blade Runner when you're running through there. That's what it's kind of like. You drive the interstate that goes right through the refinery. But anyway,
and Jake Lewis last week had a big third-place finish out in Utah.
Yeah,
first podium of the season for him, and hopefully he'll get more and more of those. Been pretty much in that fifth place spot, and that's where he finished on Saturday.
Yeah,
but was able to move up to third on Sunday in racing.
Yeah, good. Yeah, congratulations to Jake. Yeah, Jake the Snake, and on that M4 X-Star Suzuki, and that team worked hard to get that thing going. And I think they put in some extra hours the night before he got that podium. So good job for Jake.
And excited, some soccer scrimmages starting next week. The boys, I think, have a home scrimmage with Henderson County next Thursday. Is that August 2nd? It is.
It is. It is August 2nd.
And the first football scrimmage, actually the only football scrimmage, is coming up on August 10th.
Yep.
So, that's just
and it's here
2 weeks away.
And then 17th is, right? Yeah.
The 17th is the first football game over at Christian County. Schedule's a little interesting this year because I believe we start with 2 road games. And then I think there are 3 home games.
Yeah. And that's at this Courtsville Stadium of Champions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, cool place to see a ball game and to broadcast a ball game.
And some interesting things coming up pretty early in the season for Caldwell County football fans. At the Henderson County game, which I think is September 14th.
I think that's right.
I need to bring a schedule with me,
I guess. I need to have one.
The Tigers will honor the 1998 state championship football team, the 20th anniversary of that, and that's almost impossible to fathom that that's been 20 years because it feels like yesterday standing on the sideline up at Old Cardinal Stadium on the old hard turf.
Yeah.
And watching the Tigers battle Danville and come out with a big win. I think the Lidkin House computer made the Tigers 27-point underdogs in that game, somewhere around there, and the Tigers won that game 38-28 over a Danville team that seemed like they were in the finals every year.
Yeah,
and
stars aligned, and a lot of young men laid it all out there on the line, and
wow.
and did a fantastic job. So
that's going to come up. The latest Hall of Fame class, which we'll be announcing pretty soon, I think. I think that's going to be the Crittenden County game on September 7th.
Okay.
I'll double-check all that, and it'll be in the paper and it'll be on the radio, and, we'll make sure we have all that straight. But another great class coming up for that, and that's always
Have they been selected?
Yes.
Okay, so they've been selected.
But I'm not sure that everybody has been contacted yet.
So no announcement yet?
Yeah, we're waiting for everybody to be contacted before we put the list out and let everybody know. But it's a really good class, and, man, it was tough, trying to – pare it down.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Even looking ahead to next year, we've already started a list for next year to get for the Hall of Fame. So there's a lot of guys that need to be in, and this year and next year and the coming years, a lot of those guys will be honored. I think you have to be out 10 years before you can be considered for that. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, look forward to that as well. And like you said, it's a busy time for sports guys right now.
Oh yeah.
And this is the time you're preparing, researching, and getting ready for the upcoming season. And
it's actually been fun the last few weeks to have a little downtime.
Yeah, you had some downtime officially.
Yeah, but it's going to ramp up, and like I said, we're taking football pictures tonight, and then there's like all kinds of pictures to work on and stories to write and pages to lay out. And
yeah, that's cool.
Like I said, and all that comes on top of
anything special
everybody's
coming out
regular job. So.
Saturday.
No, we had the back to school section in Wednesday's paper. I don't think anything is coming out Saturday, but like I said, look for those preview sections to come out. It's volleyball on August 8th, assuming we get pictures taken, and soccer on August 11th, and then football August 15th for Caldwell County. And we hope to do some Lyon County soccer previews this year and maybe some other things. So just
Stay
bear
tuned.
with us, hang with us, and
just
keep
keep
checking
watching the paper.
times later. Yeah.
Keep watching the paper. Awesome. And, of course, follow Todd on Twitter as well, Todd Griffin 100. A lot of information on that during the day. And then I usually will redo them on the WPKY Facebook page, repost those. So he'll follow different things, and you never know what he's going to be following. But if there's a major event going on, he'll make sure it's out there.
And we know all those teams have been practicing football, soccer, volleyball. Everybody's out there getting ready for the season, and it's always an exciting time. Got some UK basketball coming up in a couple of weeks. They're going to the Bahamas.
Yes, that's right.
So, this is
UK football, Cardinals football.
It's a great time to be a sports fan.
It is. In the fall, with these cool temperatures, you almost in the afternoon, the evening, kind of get that little hint. I mean, summer's not over yet, so you can't,
Well, that's what I said the other day. Instead of being a cool summer day, it almost felt like a warm fall day.
Yeah, exactly. And, boy, the forecast looks good for several days out there. I'm talking about, next week we're looking at highs just about 80. So,
well, summertime is supposed to be hot, but I don't think it's supposed to be oppressive like it's been some days. When the heat index is 110 or 115, that's miserable. But if it's hot, you can get outside and upper 80s, even low 90s sometimes.
But it's hard when it's oppressive for these sports teams to get out here and practice. So this is ideal practice weather here. And, it's supposed to be hot in the summertime.
And it's even difficult sometimes when it gets crazy hot because, there are rules in place where you can't practice once it reaches a certain point. In football, I know once it gets past a certain point, you can't have the helmets or the shoulder pads. And then when it gets past another point, you have to take breaks. And if it gets too hot, you can't practice at all.
And I believe the team's in pads this week, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought they were. So I thought that's what the coaches said.
Yeah, had a 7-on-7 last week. And I think once you put the pads on, you can't do the 7-on-7s anymore. So I think right now it's just getting ready for that first scrimmage. It's Butler County, and because they're working on their field up there, or have done some work on their field, it's here this year.
Yeah.
It was our turn to go up there, but we get an extra home scrimmage out of it. So scrimmage will be at home this year. And then that's August 10th. The season starts August 17th. And I'm telling you, it's a busy time of year, and all that gets on you in a hurry.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Anything else on your list we didn't cover? We got it all covered?
I think that's about it. Thanks to Al Willman from the Paducah Sun for joining us today and giving us some good information, especially on some football teams down his way. I'm sure we'll be talking to those guys again as we get into the season. And hopefully each week as we get close to football season, we can call on one of our media friends from, whether it's the Kentucky New Era over in Hopkinsville or the Henderson Gleaner or the Paducah Sun or any of those guys, and can come on and, give us the scoop on their football teams as we're getting ready to play them each week.
Oh, yeah. And, Al here tomorrow, of course, and going to check out our Caldwell County. And we certainly I'm glad that we get coverage from some of our regional newspapers as well. But, of course, we know the best coverage of the Caldwell County Tigers is in our local Times Leader.
Well, and the radio, I said all the time that, sometimes we're a little spoiled and we don't realize how good we have it, that we have a paper that, puts the effort into covering sports the way it does, and a radio station that puts the effort into covering sports the way it does, because some communities don't have either one of those.
No, that's exactly
and here
right.
we have on a daily basis and twice a week, and, daily if you count social media, where our teams are being covered.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and we've got some good coverage out there, and we ask you too if your child may not be a school sport, if they do something great, they're in some sports that might not be affiliated with the school, they're doing something, we'll take that too. We want to hear about
Absolutely,
it, and let the success of their sport show in the media, whether it's the paper or the radio station. So let us know. We've put some rodeo stuff on here recently, and some of that's high school affiliated. It's not, bowling, So we want that kind of news here, and sometimes the only way we can get it is if you give it to us. So
absolutely. And one other thing I might mention, Youth Incorporated sort of finished its summer baseball and softball program with the high school, or not high school, but the youth baseball tournament last weekend at the Ratliff Park Complex. Through some big crowds out there, a lot of teams.
Yes, like huge crowds out there.
But, some things going to be done at the ballpark, some work on some fields going on, but still plan to have fall ball. So, be on the lookout for that, and they'll be announcing some things and sign-ups, coming up for Youth Incorporated Junior Pro Football.
They're going on right now online, and there's a link on our website. It's kind of a lengthy web address out there. So if you go to WPKY online or our Facebook page, if you want to sign your kid up for Youth Incorporated football or cheerleading, check that out as well.
Like I said, lots going on.
Yeah, there is. Thank you so much. It's been a
Absolutely.
great day.
It's been a great show.
It's been a great show. Thanks to Al Willman, who joined us as well, and Will Brown and some of those that chimed in on texting. Don't forget, if they haven't run out yet, check out Lady Tiger Volleyball Cookout. That's down in front of the Butler, doing half chickens and pork tenderloin. You can make it a meal as well. And get there while supplies last. That's going to wrap us up at 10:08. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to our sponsors, Bashir Sawmill, ABC Finance, and You Ride in Princeton. It's 10:08. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday at 9:03. You're listening to the Sideline Report on your hometown radio station.